All right, let's see what this guy has to say about van life.
So, you think it's going to be cheap living in one of these vans? Not anymore. This couple, in 2021, they bought a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, but then they spent an additional $105,000 to turn it to their home. And what did they find out? That they were actually paying as much or more rent that they would have paid in a major city traveling around. And of course, barking dogs and the whining children. So, what happened in the long run? The couple decided, well, so much for this, they moved back into a normal home. They gave up living in their van. I mean, come on now.
Oh my goodness. That is a very enthusiastic guy. He's having a lot of fun making fun of this van life couple that is calling it quits. And I want to dive into this anecdotal story just a little bit, but we need to walk this dog first. Wait a minute. Hey, wait. Henry, come on. Good morning. Do not need a jacket anymore. Come on. So many steps. Me too, Henry, me too. Should have brought his backpack. Too many steps for Henry and not enjoyable steps for me. Let's see what the top has to offer. Is this it? I mean, I do like the view, but I kind of wish there was a sign that said 8 billion steps first. Of course, if there was, probably wouldn't be here. I hate steps.
Over all the fees of where they had to park, not even including the fuel that they're buying. You know, you're gonna buy a lot of fuel driving around those things.
Okay, so I'm gonna summarize what he's saying with van life is stupid. Like, I feel like that's what he's ultimately saying. And it's not that he's wrong. I would argue that van life is definitely not for him, I guess, although he'd probably enjoy it. Like, there are aspects of van life that everyone probably enjoys. But let's dissect what he's saying. And the first is, he's talking about a couple that he, I guess, read about in Van Life magazine. I'm not familiar with this magazine. That said they bought this new van, Sprinter van. They converted it into a camper van. We're gonna assume they did, you know, their best to make it Instagram van life. So of course this costs a lot of money.
They spent an additional $105,000 to turn it to their home.
Did it for a little while, and then they went back to house life. And we talked about this in a different video about van life being dead. He mentions their cost of living during RV life, during van life, was approximately the same as what it was before. Their budget really didn't change. And I'm gonna say probably true. Probably true. And so here is my opinion of travel. You can travel any way you want. You got budget travel, you got luxury travel, and everything in between. So there's a wide variety of budgets that can afford travel life. And if your goal is budget travel, if you don't want to spend that much money on travel, 100% possible, but 2, it's a lifestyle change. If you're currently spending a significant amount of money in your regular life, I'm gonna argue that a lot of it is lifestyle and not necessarily, you know, I live in DC and therefore DC costs a lot. A lot of it is probably lifestyle choices. And those choices are unlikely to change just because you go from sticks and bricks to van life. So you might not be willing to bring your $4,000 budget down to a $3,000 budget or a $2,000 budget or a $1,000 budget, even though there are plenty of van lifers out here living on $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. It doesn't mean that that will be an easy transition or a likely transition, but hello.
I'm allergic, but that's why I got gloves on. I can do this with gloves on.
If your goal in RV life is to reduce your budget, like if that is the #1 reason why you're thinking about it, realistically, there's probably a way to reduce your cost of living without RV life. There are plenty of YouTube channels that teach people how to budget.
I am going to share a week-long meal plan to feed your family for $50.
So in this video, I want to share with you some of my top hacks and strategies to save for the future and to reach my financial goals.
As I began owning fewer things, I found more time and money and energy for the things in life that were most important to me.
So yeah, if the goal is purely financial, you just want a more affordable life, you can probably do it much better without getting an RV. You could also consider possibly moving to a more affordable area, a different city, a different state, a different country, honestly. When I initially started RV life in 2019, I was spending about $3,000 a month, which was a significant difference from my $5,000 life that I had in a more traditional home in Florida. But that $3,000 was nothing compared to living in Mexico, where I don't think I ever spent $2,000 in 1 month, with the exception of maybe when I flew back to the US to visit family. So if the actual goal is just affordability, there's a variety of ways to do it, and staying in a sticks and bricks could very much be a part of that equation. In fact, I would say if you can own your home outright, like in the long run, it's a really great step towards that independence. But for myself, while I am a budget traveler, so I do have a particular budget I want to keep. When you know your budget really well, and if that is also part of your priority, you're able to maintain that budget. Whatever your budget might be, you're probably able to do it on just about any lifestyle. Maybe not a luxury lifestyle. Although, what was that girl, Anna?
Anna came to New York, no rich parents, no connections. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it.
Luxury lifestyle on a budget. It might include some jail time. Anyway, this month, for example, I've been doing RV life, and thus far, I will probably stick to a very similar budget that I had in Mexico. Now, I will say I'm traveling without my son, which is inherently much more simple. So again, RV life, wide variety of budgets available. But for me, the purpose of RV life is not to be budget friendly. It is to be travel friendly. It is to frequently wake up in different spots. It is to look at different locations, places you've never been before. Like the travel is the point, and travel is always luxury. So yes, you absolutely can have a budget friendly life in a van, but you can absolutely also spend a luxury amount. So a lot of self-awareness, family awareness, if there's more than one person, needs to be had. He also pokes fun at the idea that maybe van life doesn't have enough space.
That's a married couple, right? You're always there together. Imagine being in a van, you're 2 inches away. What can you do? That probably had something to do with it too, you know?
The cons to living van life with a partner.
There is no privacy going on.
Let's just say going to the bathroom in front of each other has somehow become the norm. Our van is only 72 square feet, so we really only have 36 square feet per person. So we bump into each other a lot.
Yeah, if you're literally in your van 24/7, you're gonna get tired of it pretty quickly. But if you spend as much time outdoors, weather permitting, you don't have to be together the whole time. You'll also notice in the van life community, there's a lot of couples that actually have their own van. They might travel together the majority of the time, but they still have their own van, their own space.
With a van and a bus and 2 big dogs.
We are a 2-van fam. Forever and always.
Honestly, that sounds ideal to me. So maybe if they had gotten a more affordable RV, they could have gotten 2 of them and had some more space, if that was actually the reason why they moved back to sticks and bricks. But there's multiple reasons why people quit van life. That's in another video. We can talk about that later.
Most places, they have the advertisements. There's the beautiful van or camper looking at the pristine lake, right? And you're the only ones there. No, you're parking at the campgrounds with everybody else, with the barking dogs and the whining children, right? You're not out in the wilderness all by yourself. You can't park by the lake in your van and look at it. You gotta go to the campground where everybody else is.
Right now, I'm not boondocking, meaning I'm not like dispersed camping. I'm city hopping, or I don't even know. Anyway, I'm sleeping ultimately in parking lots / rest areas, but spending the day at beautiful parks where I've got beauty around me. So where my RV is literally parked, I think is a lot less important, although obviously epic when you can park at a place that's also beautiful. At the end of the day, where I park is probably where I'm sleeping, vice where I hang out matters a little bit more. To each his own though. That being said, you can absolutely park next to lakes and beautiful locations during the day. You might not be able to sleep at that location, but you can hang out at a lot of great locations. Really depends on where you're going. Come on. Let's start going down. With any lifestyle change, whether you've decided to go vegan, whether you're gonna join the military, whether you're gonna live in an RV or move to Mexico, knowing yourself is so important. And understanding that lifestyle, what you imagine of the lifestyle, might be a little different than the reality, and pivoting is fine. You'll see a lot of RVers who are still RVers. A lot of them do change rigs. They might start in a large rig, move down to a smaller rig, vice versa.
Big drum roll. They've gone from a class B+ to a C, and now to a 5th wheel.
Old blue right there.
Old girl blue right there.
Oh man, this is a surreal moment, guys. This is once in a lifetime. Look
After
at this
we've
RV.
been in this RV
crazy.
for 8 years, to go to something absolutely brand new is like, that's a big jump from a 99 to brand new.
To 24.
If it is very important to keep a very strict budget, make sure that's a priority in your decisions, and make sure it matches the lifestyle that you're imagining. I can't imagine buying you know, a brand new Mercedes Sprinter, spending over $100,000 fixing it up to make it a camper van, and then expecting to live on $1,000 or $2,000 a month. Inherently, you've set yourself up for a much more expensive lifestyle. Now, this family apparently spent $3,500 a month, which I think is pretty reasonable. And while it might be comparable, they got to wake up in different locations. They didn't wake up to the same thing every day. Did they want to wake up to the same thing every day? I have no idea. But I feel like they set themselves up for a much more expensive lifestyle. But I will also say, just because they moved back to sticks and bricks does not mean they went backwards. Their lives probably did improve from this touch point with travel/RV life. Does that make sense? Or like when you hear about people moving to Mexico and then they move back to the US and such, they're probably not going backwards. Sometimes the benefit of travel or changing your lifestyle, even for just a moment, is literally just walking a few steps in somebody else's shoe and seeing how their life can maybe affect your life. This is why the benefit of travel to me is infinite. There's no way that the RV life did not impact this couple to help them understand themselves much more. And while RV life may not be for them, I am still gonna bet that in future, they were able to hone and create the life that they want based on that experience, based on knowing themselves more. Because sometimes until you try it, you literally don't know if you like it. So that in and of itself is a huge benefit. The maturing concept, the growing concept, the understanding ourselves and each other concept. You'll notice they didn't get divorced. They just understood. At least for right now, we need sticks and bricks. I think it's awesome when you get to know yourself more. Downhill is so much better, isn't it? Do you need to be carried again? Oh, Liz Bum, Liz Bum.